We're bringing healthy back. Them other bros don't know about the facts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Magic of Metabolic Health podcast.
That's right.
Where optimized metabolic health is our goal, and we are here to get you there. My name is Amelia Wood, and I am a certified personal trainer, food first personal trainer, and a metabolic health coach. Here at the Magic of Metabolic Health podcast, we are building a village that encompasses every part of who you are. We release guilt and shame and the quest for perfection and show you how self-efficacy and your why are crucial tools in sustainable behavior change and optimizing your metabolic health. So welcome to episode 14, Dr. Funmmy. It's been a while.
It's like, I'm here. My name is Dr. Funmmy Aweiyami. I am a board-certified internal medicine hospitalist, specializing in integrative medical medicine. But I'm so happy to be here. It has been a while. I have been away, just been busy at the hospital. It's been absolutely insane, but I'm happy to be back.
I'm so happy to see you, and I am so excited for today's episode that we put together.
I'm so excited.
We have a lot to talk about, and today, episode 14, is about stress and women. Or women and stress. I don't know what comes first. Hopefully the women
first. Women first, food first.
Yeah.
Everything first. Absolutely. I'm actually really excited about this episode. A lot of my patients, half my patients are women, and they're all stressed. And I want to be able to address their stresses today. I want to be able to see if we can help them and help you guys out today. So yeah, let's get started.
Yeah, right. So there's so many dynamics. What we like to do when we talk about a certain topic is define it first, right? Mm-hmm. So if we're talking about women and stress, what is stress? There's physical, mental, emotional, financial. There's metaphysical. There's cosmic stress. I can tell you, I'm very familiar with that. So we're going to kind of break it down into a few different categories, but Dr. Funmmy, do you want to start out with kind of the definitions of stress and then, how we typically respond to it, whether it's appropriate, or as you put, in our notes here, maladaptive. Go for it. Let's talk about it.
Sure. So when we talk about stress, it depends on your operational definition of what stress is. Stress can be a good thing or stress can be a bad thing. After all, there's like the term where they say stress makes diamonds, and then you also have stress that can be very overwhelming and kind of maladaptive and breaks down your entire life and causes you to go into a spiral. Stress is something that everybody faces, whether you're living good or you're living bad or wherever the planet you are, you have stress. And so that stress could be your ability to provide for your family, ability to make money, your ability to show up in your society, your ability to show up in your family. Stress is just an inherent part of our lives. And there's not a single person on the planet who does not experience stress in one form or the other. But the type of stress that we're talking about is the stress on our bodies. After all, this is a metabolic health podcast. So we're talking about the stressors in your lives that affects your bodies, that affects your physical well-being, it affects your mental well-being, and it can even affect your finances if you really look into it. And so not so much the metaphysical stresses. We're not talking about your existential crises that causes you to spiral off into the sun, although that is perfectly legit. It's a real thing. But when we talk about stress, we're talking about medical terms. We're talking about cortisol. So cortisol is what we consider the stress hormone. Cortisol is something that your body gives off, your adrenals give off. And what it does is that it manages your ability to go. It manages your blood pressure. It manages your inflammatory response. It manages your ability to cope. And so it is the hormone that's given off for like your fight or flight. And so this is what I think of when I think of stress hormones in general. Now, how you respond to stress is just as important as how you don't respond to stress. Some people, when they see stress, they get up and go. They go, okay, I got to get this done. All right, this is what I'm going to have to do. And then some people kind of like break down and go, okay, well, I gave it my good I gave it my a good college effort, a good college try, and that was it. And then depending on the stressors that you have in your life, are you responding to it appropriately? As in, when things come in your life that stresses you out, are you able to handle them, or are you really not able to handle them? And then you go off into having like some maladaptive behaviors, like shopping or eating or sleeping, or all the things that you're essentially avoiding the stressor in your life. So these are very important questions when we think about stress in general.
Yeah. And so when we were kind of planning for the episode, we were talking about contributing dynamics, which you already kind of covered, but we're going to break down into very specific groups these contributing dynamics. And I think you already kind of touched on it, limiting beliefs, right? What we believe, how we believe we should respond to stress.
Sure.
We make assumptions like, oh, I
Sure.
can just tolerate it. I'm a superstar. I'm a mom. I am a partner, a wife, a spouse. I can handle this. It's fine. But then sometimes we shut down after a certain amount of time, and our bodies and our minds are like, actually, this isn't something I want to manage or ignore anymore. So let's talk about limiting beliefs. I think there's something culturally in our society that has perpetuated this sense of a guilty complex. I can manage this stress. I don't need a break. I don't need to rest. I don't really have to eat because other people are more important to take care of, because I'm a nurturer. I am a mother. Even if I'm not a mother, I take care of my friends or my family or, other folks in the community. And so guilt is something for me that I have struggled with a lot. And I don't maybe present as someone who walks around feeling guilty all the time, because I don't think I do. But one of the things that I've been working through is how guilt makes me complicit. And it takes away from my power. And I think there are people in this world that are go-getters, right? Like you were saying, Funmmy. And then there are people who are like, it's okay. I don't have to confront that person who just offended me. I want to take the high road, or I don't want to make more drama, so I'm just going to let it go. And if that's a pattern, right, that maybe some of us have, I wonder.
That's maladaptive. That doesn't make you, just because you took the high road doesn't make you the better person. Who told you that?
Exactly.
All right, we're gonna definitely break those down, but let's get into it. What the first thing that you said that was that really resonated with me is this nurturing complex that women have been given. So part of being a good woman in our society is being a nurturing person. Whether you are taking care of other people, or you're taking care of your family, your extended family, like your brothers or sister, your mom, or your husband, or your partner, or your children. Part of the operational definition of being a good woman is being a nurturer. That means doing unto other, giving service unto other, giving of yourself unto others to make sure that everybody else is okay. That kind of like mammy type of energy, right? That big sister energy, or that wife energy, that supporting energy, right? And so that's important. And so a lot of women have now made that their identity, to be a nurturing, mothering, loving person. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. The problem is that if that is your entire identity, then question, how come you don't take care of yourself?
And, I've been enough therapy to be able to share that sentiment of like, how can you actually truly respectfully take care of others if you don't love yourself first,
Right.
you know, that balance of like, who comes first, when do they come first, and how do I set myself up with my self-love, with standards for my self-respect, so I
Mhm.
can, you know, we're not bashing being nurturers, right?
No, not
If
at
you
all.
love
It's
to,
a beautiful thing to be a nurturing person, to give unto others, to look out for others. The question is that can you pour out of an empty vessel? If you have not, if you're not full within yourself and you have given energy, given more of yourself than you have the capacity to give, you are not pouring out of an empty vessel, and you have not given your time to, you have not given yourself the ability to regroup, to rest, to be able to actually relinquish, like, you know, to be able to restore your stock. If you have love to give others and you've poured out all of your love, guess what? Tomorrow you ain't got no more love. You have to give that which you can give without being a detriment to yourself. That is very important. And you have a lot of people who because they've made being a nurturer their sole identity, they have poured themselves, they have exhausted themselves to the point of they're having nothing else left to give, and hoping that by exhausting themselves and emptying themselves, that they will not be seen as truly the best of the women, the most nurturing of women. And I'm here to say that that's just not true. I'm here to say that that actually makes you probably the least. And it's going to ruffle some feathers, but the thing about it is that I have more women that come to me in clinic, or more women that have broken down from dehydration and needed to be admitted into the hospital. And then the number one thing, as they're in the hospital and they're maybe dehydrated, they're hooked up to vents and they're hooked up to IVs, they're like, who will take care of my mom? Who will take care of my children? What will my job do when I don't show up tomorrow? Ma'am, you're in the hospital because you have literally broke down because of chronic stress or whatever the case may be. They're gonna, guess what? And I hate to, and like I said, this is gonna ruffle little feathers, but if you were to expire today, your job will find a replacement for you tomorrow. If you were to expire today, your children will continue to live the next day. If you were to expire today, your husband will find another mother for your children. You must take care of yourself, or else what are we doing this for? Like, what is the purpose of this? Like, it's so important. And so it shocks me how many women don't understand that this stress, taking on more stress to the point that breaking down, or taking on more stress to look like the most nurturing person of all, where it becomes a detriment to yourself, is not it. It's just not it.
it's not hashtag goals.
It is not hashtag goals. It's not hashtag goals AF. It's actually very opposite of what the hashtags we're going for. We want to go hashtag soft life. We want to go hashtag hydrated, moisturized, hydrated, and minding my business. You want to go hashtag, living my best life. And living your best life doesn't mean that you said screw everybody and I gotta, that's not what that is. But you have to definitely prioritize yourself. And the question is, a lot of women have to ask themselves this: do you prioritize yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Do you prioritize yourself first, or do you do everything for everyone in your life and then you do yourself last?
And then what happens at a certain point, and how often do these roadblocks or dead ends occur in your life where your body breaks down, you end up in the hospital, or I don't know, maybe you get sick a lot, or something happens, you break a bone, or you roll an ankle, or something like that. Your body, the universe, number one, but your body is also telling you,
Yeah.
slow down.
Yes, slowing down. So the thing about cortisol, like we said, this is the stress hormone, and it makes your body go. It makes your body function. It regulates your sugars. It regulates your stress responses. It regulates your immune system. And so you're supposed to have cortisol in your system. However, when you have too much cortisol in your system, it is maladaptive. And the things that happen to you are you're in a chronic state of stress. You are now anxious. You're depressed. You start having insomnia. You can't sleep. What else? Your diet may be poor, and now you have all this sugar in your system, and you're starting to gain weight. Your skin is starting to act up. Your blood pressure gets super high for absolutely no reason. You're starting to break out. You're chronically fatigued. If this sounds like you, we got to talk. We got to talk. If you're having mood swings, if your period becomes irregular, if you're no longer in the mood sexually, these are all symptoms of very high stress. And you have to ask yourself, am I living a life that is nurturing to myself? We've already said it. You've made it your goal to be this nurturing good woman. Did you nurture yourself?
Right. And do you allow others to nurture you? Is something
Yeah.
that I have had to learn, right?
That part. That's actually a big thing with the guilt. Some people feel guilty about letting others do something for them. They feel that they need to pay it back in kind. Are you aware that people can just be good to you for absolutely no reason, just to be good to you? Are you aware that you are worthy of people being kind to you and treating you well and taking care of you? Are you aware of that? I think that's really important because some people aren't.
I am. And I also have to remind myself that I am not a burden.
Ooh, but why would you think that though? So
Yeah.
let's get to the meat and the potatoes of that. Where did that come from?
That's a good question because my parents never told me I was a burden. They didn't. My parents were great. They are great.
Yeah, I know Daddy-O and moms.
Yeah.
They're wonderful.
So coming to terms with this narrative that I didn't even consciously realize I was living, right? That I was a potential burden. I'm strong enough, or I will be strong enough if I do it myself. So I'm capable, right? Like I think the belief of being capable came first. And then I attached myself to that identity of being capable and thought, oh, I don't need help. I don't need to pass it off to someone else because I know I can do it. I'm confident. I'm independent.
No,
right?
This is it. We found it. This is a maladaptive response to stress. So hyper independence is a maladaptive response to stress. Just because you're capable of doing something doesn't mean that only you should do it. For example, when I was talking to Dr. Tony on his podcast, I forgot about the episode I did a long time ago. I used to tell him that when I was in residency, I would delegate tasks that I could definitely do, and I would delegate it to others, not because I could not do it, but because I determined that just because I could do it doesn't mean that I should be the only one to do it. Just because you can run your household and you can pick up the kids and you could go to school and you could work full time doesn't mean that you should be the only person to do it. And the question might be like, well, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? You would be surprised. You would be surprised. We need to take off this superhero cloak that society has put on us to make us seem like, oh, because you're such a super mom and like, oh my God, wow. Like, baby, women are dying. Just like, as in, you will die with your superhero cloak on. As in, it does not profit you to succumb to pressure and stress like that, just so they can say that you are super mom or superwoman or superwoman for what? Superwoman for what? And you have a heart attack at 35? Superwoman for what? And you have an autoimmune disease by 40? Superwoman for what? And you're infertile by 45? Make it make sense. Come on.
Yeah, there's so many factors, so many influences. And, you know, when you're talking about cortisol, I thought about a time when my cortisol tanked. And that is something that not a lot of people talk about. When you go online and you look for cortisol and women's issues, it's always about high cortisol. and they just slap this label on women like, oh, you have these signs and symptoms, high cortisol, don't even get tested, start taking the supplement or do whatever. And I'm always like, excuse me, in the back. Yeah. I had chronic adrenal fatigue, and I never had a high cortisol test done.
Right. It's
It
actually just
was
probably super low.
bottom out,
All right.
bottom of the barrel, where my
Sure, of
naturopath
course.
literally said to me, I don't know how you're functioning, Amelia.
Oh no. And it's crazy because you would be surprised. Some of the levels of cortisol you would see in a woman, it could be super high and it could also be super low. And so let's talk about that. So once again, your adrenals give off cortisol, but it's actually from your hypothalamus. Your hypothalamus tells your pituitary gland to like make hormones. Your pituitary gland then tells your adrenals to make hormones. And so your adrenals make cortisol. So if all this cortisol is being flooded into your system, now you have all these problems that we just talked about, right? You have the weight gain, you've got the stress, you've got the high blood pressure, and your adrenals are just making nothing but cortisol. Guess what? Your adrenals are glands, and glands are organs, and organs can burn out. So at a point, your adrenals are like, you know what? I can't work in these conditions no more. I'm just go ahead and just clock out. I'm just going to go ahead and turn off the factory. And then now you're making no cortisol whatsoever. Guess what? You now have adrenal fatigue. And so your adrenal fatigue now turns into real fatigue, and so now you have no cortisol in your system. Now your blood pressure is too low. Now you're losing a bunch of weight. Now you have insomnia. Now you don't even have the energy to do anything at all. You don't even know how you're going to make it through the day. That is a problem in and of itself. And so when your adrenals don't work, like I said, it's the go method that makes your body move. And so it predisposes you to so many things, autoimmune diseases. Right now, we're finding out that women have always had more autoimmune diseases than men. But the funny part is that number is going up shockingly. Why? Because women are living in a state of stress that we're not supposed to be in. We're simply not supposed to be in this level of stress that we are in. And yet here we are. So now we have our adrenals are shutting down. We've got adrenal fatigue. Women are not doing so well. And it takes so many years to get diagnosed because I, as a physician, when a patient comes in and they tell me, oh, doc, I'm really tired. I'm so exhausted all the time. Okay, I run through it. I say, okay, let's do some blood work. I'm ruling out hypothyroidism. I'm ruling out anemia. I'm ruling out poor diet, exercise, things like that. It will take sometimes physical manifestations before I say, you know what, let's get an AM cortisol to see just how much cortisol that you're giving off. And from there, then you get that diagnosis of, oh, their adrenals have shut down. They need supplementation. We got to give them back the hormones that they're not making because their access is now like messed up. And so that takes a long time. You have to have a physician that you know and trust and can be able to do that for you. And so I think the better thing, because not every woman is going to have access to a physician that can be able to diagnose that, you have to look at your life. Are you stressed out? What is stressing you out? And the answer could be so painful because it could be something that is completely not within your realm of control. It could be your environment. We're living in America, right? We're living in America where things are getting very gnarly for women very quickly, and you have to start looking at an exit plan. You could be in a really like toxic or abusive relationship that you feel constantly living on eggshells in your own home, or you could be in a work environment that's super toxic and sort of like a bullying environment. You could just not have enough rest, enough food, enough money, as in all these things are stress factors. And so, yeah, people are stressed. Men are stressed, women are stressed, but women are doubly stressed. And we could talk about why women are doubly stressed in a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And a little bit more on that cortisol test. So that's kind of the standard, right? Is to test your AM cortisol. But
Yes.
another thing that you can do to take one more step deeper is to do a saliva cortisol test, where you take these vials home and you put saliva in them 4 times throughout the day, 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 4 p.m., 8 p.m. And then it'll show the bell curve, if there is one, because there should be. And what I found when my naturopath gave me that test is that I basically went like this.
This is not good.
There
That's
was
not
no-
good, Amelia. Amelia, that's not good.
No. And you know what she said to me? She said the same thing. She goes, Amelia, I can give you supplements, but you have to change your life.
Yeah.
You have to change your lifestyle, and you
Yeah.
know what it is that needs to change.
Yeah.
And I know it's
Of
not
course.
easy, right? So
It's not
that
easy.
was a big aha moment for me, and it took months and months. I did take supplements. I quit my job. I had a breakup, and let me tell you, as soon as I moved, everything changed. When I shifted the
That's
energetic
right,
state
girl. That
that
is
I was
right.
in, it was incredible. It was like the light just turned on. All that
That's
stuff that
right.
was
It's like a
weighing
little
me
aha
down.
moment. You know, and the worst part is that sometimes you'll meet a woman where like her life is going so great and things like that, and then you see her in a couple of months and she looks like a completely different person, like she's lost her she's lost her light, her spark, and you're like, what in the world is going on in this woman's life that has completely drained her of her energy and of her power? And you're just like, no, this is not it. And when you get back your spark, your when you get back your energy and you feel back into your main character energy, it's like the sun is rising, the birds are out, Venus are rising from the foam. Like literally, it is everything. And that's when you see women going into like a villain arc. You see them getting back on their diet. And by diet, let's talk. When we talk about diet, it's not just the things that you eat; it's the things that you consume. The things that you consume, as in what you read, what you watch, the news, the media, the conversations that you're having with others, like the people in your surroundings. And so when you get back on your diet, you get back on your routines, on your regimes, your skin, your body, your hair, the things that that are important to you, that make your womanhood like sing, as in there's no better, as in that's the girl you want to be. I want to be her. I want to be her. HER. I want to be her. Oh, and I hope her is watching this because I love her. That's the singer, her. I love her.
Yeah. That also brings me to some memories of limiting beliefs in my 20s, probably late teens, early 20s. I won't get into all the details, but basically I decided I needed to protect myself.
Sure.
And this is a dynamic of hyper-vigilance in a society where, I can't really go anywhere without making sure I'm safe as a woman.
That part.
And so the hyper-vigilance was a huge part of my late teens and early 20s. And I wanted to be left alone. I didn't want, I wasn't the type of person who appreciated cat calls. And so it was very overwhelming and very triggering. And so I wore lots of masculine clothes. I stopped shaving. I thought, okay, what can I do to make myself unattractive to men?
What is this? What is this?
This is real. I mean, I still took showers and everything, and I bought clothes, but I also bought a lot of used clothes. We're going down the rabbit hole. Anyway,
right.
My point is that this was maladaptive behavior as well, because I decided that in order for me to be safer, since I couldn't not be a woman, right?
Sure.
And I couldn't change society.
Sure.
I thought, okay, I'm going to adapt this way. And I didn't prioritize, skincare, healthcare, really. My hair, sure, I went in bouts of like working out or eating differently and things like that. But I really struggled with this hyper vigilant sort of like always on the defense, always, like they teach you in driving school, you have to be a defensive driver. I was a defensive lifer. Like everywhere I went, I was on the defense because of
Well, I could tell you that's
past
what made your cortisol
experiences.
high. I'll tell you that right now. I could tell you right
Oh,
there
that
and
was
then
way
that'll make your
before,
cortisol
but
high.
that could have, and I didn't get it tested back then. It could have been up then. And then by my late
And
20s
then
is when it
before it
went
crashed.
and
Right.
crashed. Who knows? But yeah.
So that's tough. And like I said, this is what I said when we'll come back to this. Stress is, like I said, stress is a part of everybody's everyday life. Men get stressed, women get stressed, but women are doubly stressed. And the reason that women are doubly stressed is because we're living in a society that has deemed us to be a protected entity, where people that are smaller, therefore requiring protection, people who make more people. And so, for the most part, you as a woman, and men are not going to get this. This is why this episode is specifically for women. But I would argue that I would love for men to like really listen to this episode too, because men don't wake up in the morning and go, I wonder if I should change my clothing so that I won't be catcalled in the street and I won't be followed home by random men and possibly be sexually abused. I wonder if I'm safe in this. I want to go out with my friends. I wonder if I'm safe in this club full of people, or if my drink is going to be spiked with drugs so that I can be later on sexually abused and harassed and maybe even raped. I wonder if like this extra level of steps that you as a woman have to do to keep yourself safe in a society that has inherently become unsafe for women is gonna go make your stress go up. It's gonna raise your cortisol. And so this thing with this vigilance that we're talking about, this sense of vigilance that women have to do, this hyper vigilance is gonna increase your stress response. I I warrant that most women are very stressed about this because um, things are getting worse. Because things are getting worse because we're seeing a rise in femicide. We're seeing a rise in like our reproduction rights being stripped of us. And whether you're a single woman or a married woman, and you have children, our reproductive rights are being attacked on a daily basis. Every day, that's why I actually stopped watching the news. Every day I hear about a new affront to women's reproductive rights, and I'm just like, if it's not one thing, it's another. Just when I finish getting over like the stress of my workplace and I'm getting over the stress of my family, I got to worry about if the state wants to take away my ability to get birth control or get an abortion or whatever the case may be. So you're constantly in a state of stress as a woman, which is why I said that because of that, you must doubly prioritize yourself. In a system that is not prioritizing you, you must be the person to prioritize yourself. No one is going to do that for you. No,
Yeah.
no one is going to do that for you. Actually, they're betting that you don't do that for you because let's be honest. There's so many systems in this country that are being held up by women's unpaid labor. By that nurturing, that is why our society is telling us to be a nurturing person, not just because it's good to be a good nurturing person in your family, but because there's so many things that profit from us doing our unpaid labor, taking care of the elderly and childcare and all these things. And so if you put a price on this unpaid labor that women are doing, guess how much it would be?
I'm sure you have a number.
Billions, baby. I'm
I
gonna
don't
see
know.
if we can attach the article to this. But I think like Australia did a study where they calculated the unpaid labor that women did in their day-to-day lives, and if there was a monetary number on it, and there was, and it was astronomical. If women decided to just check out from that altogether and just decided to prioritize themselves, guess what would happen? Like our
The earth would implode.
Probably. And so it profits our society to kind of reinforce that women should be these all nurturing person, all giving, all sacrificing person. In order for you to be a mother, you have to sacrifice your womanhood, you sacrifice your youth, and you sacrifice your beauty in order for you to make children and prop up your society and prop up your community. What about you?
Right.
Who's gonna take care of you, baby?
Preach it. Preach it.
And
Preach.
the problem is that if we had a society that actually took care of women and actually prioritized women and made sure that they felt safe, it would be different. But most women don't feel that way, right? And so until we get to that place, then we have to be in an attitude of self-serving. You must take care of yourself in order for you to take care of others. You can only give of yourself that which you can give, not a single iota more. And this is important because, like I said, I'm a physician in the hospital. I'm taking care of patients all the day long. I have to deal with their, not deal with, it's an honor to be able to take care of my patients. But if I did not come into the hospital with the ability to handle those things, then I would be doing my patients a disservice. I need to be able to be my best self so that I can advocate for them properly. If I'm not doing then I'm not the doctor I'm not the doctor that I say that I am. And I know I'm the doctor that I say that I am. So I have to make sure that I do that which I can do and not a bit more. Because guess what? I still got to go to the hospital the next day. And so I got to clock out, go home, go to the gym, eat some food, get some rest, take care of myself so that I can show up the next day once again at hopefully nearly as 100 so I can take care of my patients the next day. That is a nurturing person. That is prioritizing yourself in order for you to be of service to your community. That is how you do it.
And that is something that I see, excuse me, that I see you do, Funmmy. Your boundaries, you know how they
Oh,
say in Jersey, thick as thieves? You're thick as thieves with your boundaries.
oh yeah. The boundaries, it took years. It took years for me to be like this. It's not like I've always been like this. I've always understood because I grew up in a society, Nigerian society, where women are revered mothers, revered community leaders. They open their shops and they take care of their families and they cook for their families and they do everything and they're there for their children and they're there for their churches and doing everything. And then, and like, do they take care of themselves? I could ask my mother, when's the last time you've been on a vacation? When is the last time that you were able to, like, go get your nails done or go get a massage or just be able to have a day off to de-stress? And she will say something along the lines of, oh, my greatest joy is to be of service to others. And I said, that's true. That's true. But then why do you have hypertension? How come you only sleep 4 hours a day? Like, as in, something's not lining up. It's not giving. I'm taking care of myself. I'm prioritizing myself. If anything, if my mother decided, you know what, I'm going to go on vacation to Dubai and I'm going to go there for a week just to rest, I would be so proud of her because I would be like, yes, mama, you deserve it. Someone that is doing good for you in your life, that is propping you up, that is the matriarch in your life, you want her to flourish, to enjoy the fruits of your labor. If my mama decided, you know what, I'm not doing nothing else for the rest of the year, I just want to go and rest, I would be like, yes, you are deserving of that because you have done it. So you don't get to. So if you're gonna be this matriarch, this nurturing person in your life, then you deserve the goodness that comes with it. You deserve the rest that comes with it because rest is blessed. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So how do we actually implement these ideals, right? If rest is blessed, what kind of
Yes.
protocol can we build into our lives that is flexible, right? Considering that our circumstances are sometimes unpredictable. They're so unpredictable that they become predictable, right? I have friends who say, yeah, it's just what's happening in my life right now. And a lot of it is external, outward, influences. It's not like that they're choosing this for themselves. It's just mom got sick, dad got sick, cousin got sick, neighbor got sick, or, whatever that is. And I think to myself, I don't have a lot of those stressors that some of my friends do, but I still have to challenge myself to develop a routine of rest. And if my goal is 20 minutes in the morning before I start my day, and rest can be how do you define rest? Is it meditating? Is it reading a book? Is it eating a home cooked meal? Or is it going out so you don't have to cook and having a nice breakfast at a restaurant? What are these rejuvenating resting protocols look like? If it's 20 minutes a day, that's the goal, right? Sometimes it'll be 15. Sometimes it'll be 5.
Baby, it's a 1 hour for me. I'm trying to rest. Okay, so let's talk about resting protocols, because resting protocols, it sounds scary or it sounds complicated, and it truly isn't. Your resting protocols is anything that you say it is. And so it depends on the person. And it also depends on where you're at. So let's say that you're a person. So let's do 2 scenarios. Let's say that you're a person that you don't have too many things that occupy you. Maybe you're single, you don't have any children, but you have work and that kind of thing. So you may have a little bit more time. And so maybe you also have maybe more income. So you might be a person that is able to spend an hour and go and do an hour a week to go and do a bath or something like that. So you're a person that every week you do 1 magnesium bath. So you put your magnesium salts in lately I've been doing baking soda, and then I'll put the Aztec bentonite clay inside the water, and I'll just kind of soak in the bath and just kind of get all that stress off of me and allow my body to relax in that water and just rinse off. I'll do my skincare every day. My skincare takes 20 minutes every day in the morning. And then, maybe I'll do a massage once a week with a specialist, maybe twice in a month or whatever the case may be. So I have the ability to be able to say, those are things that I'm incorporating that are important to me that would help me relax. But maybe that's not you. Maybe you're somebody that you don't need all that stuff. You just want to be able to have 20 minutes to meditate, like you said. So you have decided that no matter what, this is where the boundaries and the thick of thieves come. This is it. This is you, and this is your boundaries. You're 5 and 6, as Nigerian people say. You're like this. So you have now determined that no matter what, you have made it a priority to do this for yourself. Nothing comes before this, or as the Koreans like to do it, very cute. So nothing comes before this. You have made that commitment to yourself because you have prioritized yourself. And that meditation could be a guided meditation. It could be music. It could just be sitting down to unload everything that that has happened, and to be able to breathe, to allow your body to rest and to just think, okay, but your resting protocol could be, I'm going to have a beautiful brunch in the morning on Saturdays, where I go to a restaurant that I really want to go. I make the reservation. I'm not cooking for anybody. I just go there and I sit down, and I'm being served tea and crumpets. And that is so I can be able to sit down and have a good book and read 7 pages of it and be able to just think about my life. The resting protocols is being able to exhale. Remember that movie, Waiting to Exhale? This is a resting protocol. A resting protocol is being able to go, rest, put your feet up, and be able to not think of a single thing other than, thank God for my life. I am here in this time and in this place, and tomorrow's another day. But as for this time and this place, I am doing nothing, and not feeling guilty about it. That part, very important. And not feeling guilty about it, because you are deserving of rest.
Right.
That part, very important.
And
so your resting protocol is really just everything.
Yeah, and letting go of that FOMO, right? Of, if I rest, like you were saying earlier, if I die, things won't get done. If I rest, things won't get done. But that's not true. Everything happens. You continue to breathe, you continue to sleep, you continue to wake and walk. Things happen more easily, I'm learning, the less you try and control them and micromanage them, and the timing and the placement. And, your life is not a wedding. Okay. We don't have to have everything in place. I'm an event planner, kind of former event planner. And so I've done weddings, I've done rock and roll, I've done corporate. And let me tell you, I burnt out because of the high expectation of having everything in its place all the time, and it transferred into my personal life, and it was an emotional bag of mess. It was a hot
Yeah.
mess, and I'm still recovering. So yeah, I think resting protocols are great, and they're very diverse. You know, you pick and choose what works for you. And I think also kind of moving forward into protocols, we have to talk about dietary lifestyle or dietary
Of
protocol
course.
as
Of
well.
course.
Because if we're stressed out, as a personal trainer and a metabolic health coach, I cannot tell you to just go to the gym and work off that stress on the treadmill or in the weight room. Yes, it helps, and it is not a cure-all, fix-all, silver magic bullet. It is just not. I used to
No,
do
it's not.
that when I had chronic adrenal fatigue. And of course, nothing was getting better. I was stressing my body
Sure.
more, and I wasn't losing weight. I was holding on to weight. And it was because my body was in survival mode. And
Yeah,
it
of
really
course.
wanted to just chill out. And I
Yeah,
wasn't
of course.
allowing it to. I wasn't allowing my
It's so
body to
tough.
sit and be.
It's tough.
And
It's tough.
so I would love to talk about food, because metabolic health is all encompassing, right? And I'm a food first personal
Yeah.
trainer. So you know, the first thing I think of when it comes to food or dietary protocol is, what are we eating that nourishes us?
Mm. Mm.
Okay?
This is important. I love that you're talking about this, because you'd be surprised. A lot of people are eating stuff that does not nourish them. They've made eating a chore. They're like,
Yeah.
I just gotta eat something just to keep me going. What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so
And
I'm always about the positive, right? The glass is half full. I have an abundance mentality, so I think about, how can I add nourishment? Okay, instead of
mm,
thinking about the restriction of like, oh, I can't or I shouldn't eat this or that or this or that. That's
sure.
overwhelming. Okay, we
Yeah.
don't need any more
Mm,
overwhelm. All we need to do is prioritize our dietary protocol with nourishing consumption of foods and liquids, right? So we were talking, Funmmy, earlier about our morning protocol, and I personally start with electrolytes. That's what
good.
wakes me up. Before I have any caffeine, before I put anything else in my mouth, I drink a small glass of liquid electrolytes, and then I take my fish oil, high potency fish oil
Mm,
capsules, and I sit with that. And then I have my 20 minutes by myself. And for you,
nice.
it's different, right? But you have your own protocol in the morning that's
Oh, my
addressing your
protocol is
physical
completely different.
health.
Yeah, my protocol is completely different. I first thing in the morning, I get up, I do a little morning affirmation. It depends. Each day is something different. This morning it was, I am now awake and anchored in my most abundant timeline, and I know exactly what to do. So that was this morning. In addition to that, first thing I do, I go to the fridge. I get myself some sea moss. I've been crazy about the sea moss lately. There's this
Yeah.
blue raspberry flavor that I'm absolutely obsessed with. Can I link that? I would love
Yeah.
like a sponsorship from that. I love their sea moss. And then I take my multivitamin, my probiotic, and my magnesium. And that's before I take anything else. Once I have that in my system, I could do anything. And then this morning, I also did a fat bomb. So I had like coconut oil, I had black seed oil, I had key lime juice, and I had some cayenne pepper to kind of shock my system. And so I did that fat bomb to like purge my liver of any like impurities that's going on in there, like get it to flush out to my system and get rid of that stuff. But yeah,
And that
and this is
fat,
not even before food. I like some
right?
avocado and some
Yeah.
whole foods, and I might juice a little bit. I'm about to probably eat this massive salad over there. It's literally this big, Amelia.
Ooh.
But if I can do and every day is different because, like I said, I'm working in a hospital, I'm going around, I'm traveling, but like the protocols remain the same, which is that I'm taking care of myself, I'm nurturing myself, I'm giving myself sustenance because I'm deserving of it, and because if I don't take care of myself, then I can't take care of others.
Right. And you're a doctor. That's literally your job.
Yes, it is literally my job, and you'd be surprised how many doctors burn out. You'd be surprised at the doctor's suicide rate. You would be
Oh,
surprised by a
yeah.
lot of these things because we're in a society where they're like, "Well, you're a doctor. Like this is like it's such a high esteemed thing, and like, oh my god." And I'm like, "That's great," but like, you'd be surprised how many doctors are not taking care of themselves, who are not listening to the advice that they give their own patients. You know?
I want to plug something real quick, and I brought it up in the last episode, but it is so important for people to understand. I can't guarantee this, but I can tell you from personal experience, knowing you, Funmmy, and a number of other doctors who are now prioritizing metabolic health in their practices. They're members of the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners website. It's a global network. And the reason I bring this up is because I have heard from many doctors, and not just family medicine, general medicine, endocrinologists, dietitians who have dietetics degrees, people who have turned around their metabolic conditions and completely transformed their lives once they realized that they had to put their best selves first.
First, of course.
And by in order to get there, right, you have to encompass the mind and the body. And what I do is I talk about the Holy Trinity, the mind, body, and culture. We have to understand our culture. We
I
have to
like that.
understand our environment, what the influences are from our environment. And so, some of the doctors on the SMHP, they have quit their hospital jobs. They have transformed their careers because they were unhealthy. They were not practicing what they were preaching, or they were, and it wasn't working. Like Ken Berry talks about that. He's very transparent.
This is a tough conversation.
About
it's a tough
all of
conversation.
these. And so I highly recommend people check out the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners website. I'm listed there. Funmmy, I think you're listed there as well.
Am I? Oh my gosh.
Do you have a profile?
Sure.
Maybe it's not up to date.
I'm going to go back and check in to make sure, because I can update it with my website. I have my own practice. That's Dr. Funmmy, that's DOKIFUME.com, where I talk about metabolic topics. And then I'm also a consultant, a private consultant concerning metabolic topics. But I definitely need to update my profile on the society because they're excellent. And I think I'm going to go to their next conference. Actually, babe, let's go together. Let's go together and let's bring like a film crew, because I want to do it big this time. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be great.
I would love that. Okay.
Wouldn't that be good? I missed the one that happened in the UK with Dr. Wafa was talking. Oh, I love her. Dr. Wafa, if you're listening, we love you.
Yes, she's fabulous.
She's wonderful. Like,
we'll just have to put
her
in the show
revolutionized
notes
my way of working patients up and thinking about things in general. Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of got sidetracked, right?
Yes, we did get sidetracked. Let's come back.
But I have the note in my head of what I wanted to follow up on as far as the dietary protocol. So you mentioned a fat bomb, and one thing
I fat bomb occasionally. Sure.
Yeah, occasionally, sure. And so one thing that I wanted to emphasize as far as the importance, and you can elaborate on this, doctor, is fat in the morning helps your body set itself up for a stable blood sugar and a stable insulin level for the rest of the day.
Sure. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, please. Because some people think, oh, fat on an empty stomach, that's weird. Or why would I want to eat fat?
What's weird about it?
Because there's a lot of misconceptions about fat.
Fat in general.
I had somebody tell me the other day, she's like, oh yeah, I love to go to the burger joint and get a burger, and my cholesterol's probably terrible. And I said, well, do you eat the bun and fries with it? And she goes, Yeah, but I'm talking about the burger. I said,
Ooh, I love this. I wonder if
actually,
we can put in the article about this. So sometimes, so let's talk about fat congestion because there's like an article on this on my website. The thing about fat is that you need fat. There is fat in like the very makeup of your cell, like every cell in your body. There is a membrane that actually holds all your cells together that is made out of phospholipid bilayer, lipid being the key word. So you need fats in order for you to survive. You need fats in order for you, and it's also another source of energy. It's not your main source of energy, but if you're someone that is pretty keto or carnivore, you need fats in your everyday life because you have cut out carbs out of your life. And so fats are just so important because it's the very makeup of a lot of your hormones, your endocrine system, everything. And so if you think about it, when you eat something, you ingest it, it goes into your system, and then your pancreas notices that your sugar level has gone up. And so it releases insulin in order for you to take that sugar and bring it into the cell. So when you're somebody that you're giving your pancreas a break, you're giving your insulin a break in order for you to, because maybe you're insulin resistant, your body still needs food in order for you to be able to live, to do your functions. And so if you're ingesting fat, guess what? You get no insulin spike because your insulin is only given off when you're ingesting sugar.
or
So
it
then your
does go
body
up a
goes
little
into
bit,
another system.
and protein
Exactly.
goes up moderately, right?
Just moderately, but
But
that's because
fat's
your
just like,
pancreas is trying to go, is this sugar? No, this isn't sugar. Okay, then you don't need insulin. Same thing with fat. If you're not eating sugar and you're just ingesting fat, your body goes, you don't need insulin to digest this, so we can go ahead and take a break. So your pancreas is given a break. And so your body goes into another process of digesting fats and breaking those down to triglycerides and glycerol and all that stuff. And your liver then uses it to make energy. So this is what I mean by a fat bomb. You ingest the fat, your pancreas doesn't need it, you don't get an insulin spike, your body absorbs the fat, it goes to your liver synthesizes it and says, this isn't my optimum form of energy, but I can use this to make energy. And that's what your liver does. And so it goes into overdrive to make energy for you and flushes out all that bad fats and all the toxins out of your liver into your system. Your body digests it. You make feces, you make urine, and guess what? You still get the energy that you need in order for you to survive.
exactly. And I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but it just made me think of fatty liver and how that is oftentimes misunderstood, that fat causes you to be fat and also to have maybe a fatty liver. And it's actually not true at all. It's much more related to carbohydrate consumption. And
Right.
so
So you have to
yeah.
remember, I love that you're mentioning this because this is a big point of contention for a lot of people. We grew up in a society where, remember, we now are aware that the sugar industry demonized the fat industry so for like what, 50 years, 60 years, we've been thinking that fat was the culprit that was making people fat. And it was really sugar. Because when you have sugar in your system, your body goes into hyperinsulin mode. You're giving off all this insulin, and then your cells are not able to kind of recognize, oh, it becomes insulin resistant because you have so much insulin in your system. You have so much sugar in your system. So your cells no longer recognize the insulin. So the sugar is just roaming around your system, destroying things, causing chaos, scarring things over. You start accumulating more fat. Your body essentially starts to break down. So some people become very insulin resistant, and then you start becoming obese. You start having like scarred down arteries, scarred down organs, and scarred down kidneys. And this is why there's such a prevalent problem, because most people are actually ingesting way more sugar than they probably need. And so there is a link between fatty liver disease and high sugar diets, high carb diets. Because even when you have people who eat a lot of fats and things like that, that doesn't necessarily give them fatty liver disease. That's not how that works. And so I think maybe a very informative article would be great to be attached in this conversation, because there's so many people where this is like the number one diagnosis that's happening lately, because people's diets are so out of control now that we're having a real problem obesity epidemic in this country is becoming it's an epidemic after all. So I think I'm glad that we're talking about this. I'm glad we're talking about diets in general. But then remember, we're also talking about anything that you consume. What is it that you consume that's not your diet that's causing you to be harmed?
Right.
Could it be your social media? Could it be the relationships that you have with others? Could it be the environment that you're in, whether it's a toxic relationship or toxic friendship? Are you surrounded by energy vampires that take everything from you and make you feel like crap at the end of the day, every day?
Mm. And all of that could be, it could be related to and have similar outcomes or consequences as, like Funmmy, you were just saying, if we have an overabundance of sugar in our systems, whether it's from bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, sugary snacks or drinks, the
Processed foods, everything.
consequent ultra processed foods, the consequences are going to be like that energy vampire. You might get a spike real quick of energy, but then you're going to tank. And we want
Always.
to avoid that for our own mental and emotional well-being as well. Because if we have a long to-do list, ladies, or we've got 5 kids or even 1 kid or 1 on the way, there's always
How about
something to
just a
take
cat?
care of. And
Like it's
right, or a
so
cat or a
much.
dog. I have a dog, and people constantly tell me like, that's kind of like having a kid, and these are the parents telling me this, and I'm like, well, yeah, I guess it is sometimes.
Wow.
But back to the fat and finding foods that nourish your body, nourish your brain, making sure protein is added, because that's going to be a more satiating, satisfying, and long-term source of energy that's going to get you through the day without a crash. So not being afraid of protein, and protein comes in a lot of different forms. So if you're vegetarian or plant-based, there are some plant-based proteins that are more bioavailable, but there's not a lot. And so if you can eat eggs, that's always something that I recommend to folks. I used to be vegetarian. I was also vegan, and it ended terribly. So I had to reintroduce one thing at a time: eggs, fish, eventually red meat, and all those
Mm.
things. And I think that that's also for women a big concern is, we're told the older we get, we're hitting perimenopause or menopause, or we have endometriosis or PCOS or gout. Like, all these things have been thrown under this terrible umbrella of, oh, don't eat red meat. Don't eat too much animal protein because it causes inflammation for all of these very common conditions that we experience. But unfortunately, the science is very poor in that
Mm.
label. And so I definitely want to put a link as well about inflammation. We talked a lot
Okay.
about that last episode. We don't have to get into it now, but, helping you all, the audience, get connected with more resources on fat and protein, how it stimulates the good stuff and keeps the inflammation at bay. And
Absolutely.
there's just so many options out there, and I'm really excited to add this new link that I just found recently about
I'm ready to read
inflammation.
it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Beyond physical, we also talk about your mentality, because when you're going out into a world, being as vigilant as you need to be as a woman, your mentality, your mental mind frame is very important. And so, how's your self talk? How do you regard yourself? Do you regard yourself well, high? Do you regard yourself as a person who is deserving of love and respect and affection? How's your self talk?
Right.
Because you would be surprised how many people their self talk isn't great.
Mm-hmm.
And so, once again, giving yourself a break and then giving yourself grace is really important, because we're human beings. I don't think anybody's been here, well, unless you believe in reincarnation, but this is your time here on the planet. And so everybody makes mistakes. No one's going to get it perfect. as long as you're doing your best and you're working on doing better than the day that than yesterday, then that's really all that matters. Your self-esteem matters. How you present yourself in the world matters. How you leave the house and put your best foot forward out there in the world, this matters. Um, and then what you tell yourself, what you teach yourself. Are you a learning person? Are you a growing person? Are you doing the things that matter to you, that would make you a better person? And whatever that better is your definition of better. But are you doing those things because it reflects on you when you go out in the world? And I feel like that's kind of really important, Amelia.
Yeah, I think about being a better person, and I don't do it for this external applause, like, oh, people think I'm
Hmm.
this fabulous person. I know there's a lot of pressure to make changes, to learn and grow, improve from outward, you know, sources like friends, family, job,
Sure.
society. So I always say this, it's a delicate dance, right? So if you want to make improvements and you haven't asked yourself why, we always come back to the why here at the Magic of Metabolic Health.
Coming back to the why, let's
You
do
got
it.
you got to figure out the why, because if you're trying to make a change because your bestie did it and look at her, she's so successful, that's not a good why. You have to
I
find your
don't know if
ride or
that's not
die
a good
why.
why.
No,
I'm
well,
going to play
okay.
devil's advocate
Okay.
here.
Go for it, because I know what you're going to say. I don't disagree.
What am I going to say?
So I will have to say that I have been influenced positively by you, Funmmy, and I do bring you in as sometimes a mirror. And I think, oh, Funmmy did it this way and she's really happy. Maybe if I did it a little bit that way, I could be happier too in that department of my life. So it's not a black and white issue. It's not like I can't be positively influenced by my friend, but I also have to have my why without you. It
Okay,
might
fine.
work for you. I might
Fine, fine,
judge
fine, fine,
that,
fine, fine.
right?
All right, fine,
But
fine, fine. We'll leave it at that
okay,
because
okay,
that's
okay.
actually perfectly acceptable.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, I have people in my life who feel this really heavy pressure of being the best or being better, and then they just kind of shut down because they're like, well, what if I don't want to be the best? What if I don't want to be better? What if I'm happy with who I am now?
That's fine. I think that we're living like this, and I'm not going to blame social media because that's such a Gen X
It's a
millennial
cop
thing to
out.
do. As in, so people were like this prior to social media, but we're definitely in a time of our lives where people are in access to more information than they've ever been in access to. I could turn on my phone and watch an influencer in Vietnam, eating doing caviar shots, and and be like, oh, I guess I'm not doing good if I'm not doing caviar shots in, like, Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. Like, that could bug me. But then people were doing those caviar shots in Vietnam whether you knew about it or not. And so it doesn't really matter. The question is that, are you happy with yourself? Are you
Yeah.
happy with yourself? Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud of and even if that means that you've done nothing, let's say that you don't have a high paying job and you don't have that much of an education and you just got, regular 9 to 5, and you're a roommate somewhere, whatever the case may be. Are you content with yourself? That is the most important part, because unless you are at a state of contentment, and then you will always be comparing yourself to others. And comparison is a thief of joy. It makes no sense to compare. What does it profit you to compare yourself to others when you're happy with yourself? Why would you even do that? You wouldn't even do that. You wouldn't need to do that because you are content with yourself. You need to find a place where you are happy with what you have made of the earth, where you are in life, and be like, you know what? Look around, look at the works of your hand, and be like, okay, you know what? I did that. Not bad, not bad, not too bad. Do I want more? No, I'm okay. Do I want more? Then go for it. You don't want more? Then that's where you're at. Then that's where you're at. And be okay with that. We need to get back to that, because otherwise You got people striving for stuff that they don't even want. Like, bro, you're doing all this extra stuff to show off to people that you don't even know, you don't even care about. Like 2 years ago, you didn't know who these people are, and 2 years from now, they're not going to remember who you are. But you are out here breaking your back trying to be impressive for whom? Impress yourself. Like,
Yeah.
that's like, really, if you're not impressed with yourself, then like, what is the purpose?
Right. And this notion of competitiveness or competition in our culture is also very confusing, because I think there is healthy competition. I think sometimes we have to compete against our egos. We have to compete
Sure.
against negative self-talk.
Mm.
And so, understanding, like you were saying, the difference between comparative thinking, like comparing myself to so and so, and like getting down on myself, versus really wanting a transformation and knowing
Sure.
why I want that transformation. And that,
Exactly.
once I make little steps toward it, every step makes me feel a little bit better, happier, lighter, more joyful.
Right.
Whatever it is, that's the stuff that we're talking about. That's the stuff that contributes to an optimized state of metabolic health, right?
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely. As
nuanced.
in, yeah,
It's very
it's
nuanced.
it's interesting. Honestly, this life experience, this whole simulation is quite interesting.
Right? This simulation, man.
Quite interesting.
So we didn't talk about finance yet.
I
I
think
think
finances is
that's,
important because I am all about the finances. Before I was
yeah.
even a doctor, before I even made money in this life, I knew I was going to make money. So it's really about your mindset, right? And whether you're single or you're in a relationship or you have children who you love very much but are expensive, I think keeping your finances in mind is very important. And if there's nobody that's talking about getting to the bag, then I will talk about getting to the bag because I do think that getting to the bag is very important for your mental health and is key in prioritizing yourself. So why is it key? Let's talk about it. So let's imagine that you're in a situation where you're in a job that you don't like, or you're in a relationship that you don't like. Having money in the bank to be able to leave a situation that you don't like, whether it's a job or a relationship or a state or a country, is very important. Money gives you options. And once again, I may get some backlash or whatever the case may be, but you cannot tell me that money is not important and that money is evil. Because there's some people that feel that, oh, money is the root to all evil, and only if we lived in a society that there was a barter system. Please, let's be real. Money opens doors. Money is a seductive, important tool in our society. And when words fall short, money will do it for you. And so I don't go back and forth with people about the importance of money or any of, I don't do that. Why? Because my money will talk for me. And so if you, for example, like I said, when you have money in the bank, savings, whatever the case may be, and you don't like a job, you don't like what they're doing, and you need to get to another job, that money will bridge you from that bad job to that new job. If you have money in the bank and you are in a relationship that was starting out okay, but then, it kind of got abusive or kind of got toxic, and you guys are living together, you're splitting 50-50, whatever the case may be, and you can't afford to leave, money will save you. If you are in a situation where you're the person that's taking care of your children and everything, and maybe your partner loses their job or whatever the case may be, and now your children's livelihood depends on you, guess what? Who's going to take care of it? You're going to have to take care of it, because who's going to take care of your children better than you? That's going to be you. And so money is so important. It's important to get to the money. It's important to get to the bag. It's important to have a backup plan. It's important to have savings, because nowadays I'm looking at, I have a lot of women that come into the hospital who's like, well, my significant other is a person that takes care of everything. Maybe they're in a very traditional like setup where their husband or their significant other is taking care of everything, and whether their significant other dies or leaves or whatever the case may be, then you're with nothing. This is a very common conversation because you have a lot of women that are maybe trad wives, or they're in long-term relationship where they've been out of the they've been out of a career for a long time. They have no skill sets in the current job market. And so being left without a source of income or a source of savings or a backup plan is so dangerous. It is such a dangerous position to be in as a woman. And so if you're already living a life of being hyper vigilant, the last thing that you need is for the rug to be pulled out from under your feet, and you got nothing. Like nothing, nada, zilch, zero. No, baby. No, I don't want that for you. No.
Yeah, this clearly comes back to what we've been talking about this whole episode, is prioritizing yourself.
You have to prioritize yourself. You have to prioritize yourself. You just never know what could happen. And if the best way to stop being hyper vigilant because you're worried, oh, this could happen, having some money away, you'd be like, okay, I can rest. Okay, I know that no matter what, at least I have this money to fall back on in case. And it doesn't matter how you save it, whether it's a little bit incrementally or, whatever the case may be. Having that thing at the back of your mind will let you be able to sleep at night. Isn't your sleep worth it? Because we didn't get to really talk about sleep, but that's part of my boundaries. It's not that I'm not a good sleeper, but I have a very active mind. I have to tell myself, you need this sleep. You must do this sleep. If you don't do this sleep, then you will not be as good as you are tomorrow. And so you prioritize it. And so, I'm at a place where I'm getting 8 hours a day, no matter what, which is crazy. Considering I came from a person that I used to have 4 in a day, maybe, which is, and so it just goes back to prioritizing yourself, what you need in order for you to be your best version of yourself. Aren't you worthy of being the best version of yourself? Don't you want to see what the best version of yourself could look like? Like the highest version of yourself, the most main character version of yourself. It would be, it would be the creme de la creme. I want to see you at your baddest. I want to see you at your best. I want to see you at your most excellent version of yourself, the highest version of yourself, your calling, your true. That's how I want to see it. I'm serious. I want the women in my clinic going, just coming in, looking good, feeling good. Oh, I just came in for a checkup, doc. I would be like, excuse me. I would love that. I would relish that. But instead, I'm seeing stressed out, dehydrated, not so happy women, and which is why we're bringing this episode today. We got to talk about stress, and we got to talk about prioritizing yourself, prioritizing you.
Yeah. And I think we've been talking a while, so I was thinking,
let's wrap it up.
We can wrap it up with a behavior change tip. This is something that I've been wanting to incorporate at the end of every episode, because we're all about sustainable behavior change. And there's a lot of stuff that we shared, firsthand experiences, some science, some research. And I think, Funmmy, maybe each of us could share a behavior change tip around one thing that we talked about today that works for us, or that maybe you've seen you impacting your patient population pretty consistently with. I don't know. What do you think?
Let's talk about touching grass.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about touching grass.
Yes. Thank you for remembering that.
So that would be mine. Mine is about touching grass. And so what does touching grass really mean? Touching grass means that we're in a society where you're kind of like boxed in your home. You're on your cell phone. You're in your office, whatever the case may be. I need you to step outside of your life and just look out and look at the sky and look at the trees and go to like a nearest patch of grass, take off your socks, take off your shoes, and put your feet on the earth and just breathe. It's the idea that I promise you it's not that deep. Whatever you're made to be so up here that is making you, super stressed out and super angry and super upset, guess what's going to happen? It will solve itself. It will solve itself. It will solve itself. And guess what's going to happen? You'll have stressed yourself out for nothing. Go touch graph, go get back in touch with reality and understand that it is really not that deep. It is super important. So yes, touch grass, baby, touch grass.
Yeah.
Oh, there's like actually this fake crop of grass. I'm gonna have it like, like a wheat germ. Is it wheat germ?
Mm-hmm.
What's that thing that people like to put in their shots? What's that thing called?
Wheatgrass.
Wheatgrass.
If you don't have any grass,
I'm gonna have like a little plot
property,
on my little desk, and it's just gonna be my little grass. I'm gonna run my fingers through it every so often, and it's gonna soothe me. And I'm like, okay, is it okay for me? Touch grass. It's gonna be so good.
All right, I love that behavior change tip. So we got some grass touching to help ground us, right? To help us reflect and be in the moment, which is something we have to honor for any change to take place. Let's see. What's my behavior change tip? Every step counts. So give yourself credit, give yourself applause, give yourself a pat on the back, reward yourself, affirm yourself. Anything positive that you do that's in the step that's stepping you in the right direction. Let's say you have 5 goals and you do one today, a baby step. That counts. Yeah. It matters. That counts.
Yes.
And please, let's step away, a giant step away from it wasn't enough. I could have done
wasn't
better.
Enough? Well, the thought was enough.
Personal experience, just saying, disclaimer. I am working on acknowledging every step matters.
Every step matters.
That's it. So yes, it's been fabulous, Dr. Funmmy Aoyami. So good to catch up with you today. And everybody, hey, leave us a comment, subscribe, like, the drill.
Tell us what you want to talk about next.
Yeah, we
want to know ideas. What is it that's important to you?
Yeah, exactly. So stay tuned for episode 15. But today, wow. Oh, and I would like to say thank you officially. I think we're at 95 subscribers. So we're almost at 100 subscribers.
Let me tell you something. It goes little and then it goes boom. And so I look forward to our 100th, and I look forward to our 1,000th, and I look forward to our 10,000th. Okay. I'm not concerned at all. I want you guys to know that we appreciate you and that we look forward to your comments, your subscriptions. Until next time.
All right. Thank you, everybody. My name's Amelia. This is the magic of metabolic health. We are the magic of metabolic health. Thank you for being part of our village, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Funmmy.
We're bringing healthy back. Them other bros don't know about the facts.